My training is in landscape architecture. I went to school for landscape architecture, and landscape architecture is a very regimented curriculum that stresses graphics, accuracy, detail. And so as I was trained on that, I fell in love with graphics. I loved doing everything by hand. But as I began taking positions in businesses where I was actually running divisions and I was selling work and I had budgets and I had to have certain profit margins I needed to hit, doing it by hand started to become a hindrance, kind of an obstacle where there was more coming in than I could get pushed out as far as work goes. So I started looking at the design solutions that I knew of. There's a handful of them. They are, each one of them has their strengths and weaknesses. They suit each user okay. I chose DynaSCAPE because of the graphics, because of the accuracy. And in my opinion, the best graphics on the market. And I remember it was in Columbus, Ohio at the Scent Show. I went and I actually met Len Hordick there. I think that was, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. And as soon as I saw, it was back when they would put them on big screens, the graphics, it was instant when I knew that that's what I wanted. I'd never seen it on a computer screen before. I'd only seen it on the website with drawings. So I started using design, and I got very fluent with it. I practiced at the end of the day on the couch for maybe an hour, in between doing some hand drawing so I could still keep up. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I was selling $10,000, $15,000 jobs with it, and which was a great thing because it's wonderful when an owner invests that money into you and you're able to walk in his office and say, I just paid for the software this week, And back then it was even more expensive than it is now. So it's almost painful to even think about how much longer a hand-rendered drawing would take. I mean, there are people out there who can do very quick hand-rendered drawings, but you can't do it like you can with a computer-aided software. So 50 to 60% probably faster. Revisions are extremely easy. Takeoffs, extremely easy. I probably couldn't be doing what I'm doing without the software I'm using. Well, I know I couldn't, because I couldn't be spending the time doing drawings and then having them scanned at Kinko's or Staples and then emailing them over. I mean, I can just do everything from my office. Everything's electronic, which is the beauty of the software. You can do your drawings. You can send them off as a PDF, as a JPEG. I've started putting watermarks on my drawings for clients, so you can do all kinds of things with it. It's a great tool. My opinion is the less you have to say something to sell someone, the better. And when I took, maybe not the first couple drawings, because I was learning, and they weren't, when you hold a $10,000 drawing in front of somebody, it's not the grandest thing. But as I started getting into 30s and 40s and $50,000 jobs and 100,000, when you roll that drawing out, you just sit back and you don't say a word. And the first time I did it, the client, I can't say on camera what the client said, but it was addicting, because my job was to sell. And when I saw the reaction of what people's reactions were when they were seeing these drawings that were crystal clear, very understandable. One of the important things to deal with business is recovering your investment, and your return on the dollar. And I don't remember what DynaSCAPE cost back when I originally purchased it, but like I said, within 2 or 3 weeks, I was starting to remember where icons were, or commands, tools. So within 3 to 4 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, you know, I was off and running with it. And within about a month, I had paid for design. Color wasn't around then. I think it had a few years until it had come about. So it really depends on the size of the job you're doing. I mean, I met a contractor in Pennsylvania last winter who I went to his office and trained. He had the software for 2 weeks and did a drawing. He called me and he says, "Patrick, I just sold a drawing with this. I just paid for this." He said, and I called the marketing manager at DynaSCAPE. Said, he just called me. He said he just paid for his software. It was 2 or 3 weeks. He was fairly savvy. He kind of knew computers, so he was, you know, he moved pretty quick with it. But that's a pretty good return on your investment. And when you can purchase something and turn that around so quickly, it's a good thing. One of the questions that I hear a lot at trade shows and potential clients that call me is, I'm in Florida. Are those plants in my area, or do you have figures for my area? And the answer is yes. There are more plants in the Horticopias database than, I don't even know what half of them are, but you can break it down by zone, perennial color, microclimate, sun, shade, rain, drought. So I hear it a lot where they want to make sure that it's good for their zone, and it works for everybody. You know, I've done work for somebody in the Bahamas that the plants were there, you know. Plants that I buy at the grocery store to put on my kitchen table grow down there like wildfire, and they were in Horticopia. I do design work for companies all across the country: California, Bahamas, Georgia, Michigan. Everything is there I need. So I've never thought, man, I wish they had this for this client or whatever. So it's for everybody.